Well, I want to start today by talking about the recent estimates of how many people either are already or are facing imminent eviction. It's a global problem, and the estimates run as high as 150 million people around the world, including millions in the United States, facing eviction now or by year's end. I want to talk about that under the influence of the pandemic. We tell people, as a way to cope with the pandemic, to shelter indoors away from others and to wash your hands frequently. In order to do that, you need a place to live. Otherwise, you can't do either of those things anywhere near as often and as regularly as we are told to. Eviction amounts to a death sentence for people. This is not a time to do evictions. You know, the virus doesn't kill as many as the capitalist system does when it is plagued by a virus. You know what eviction is? It's when the owner of an apartment decides that the profit isn't there if the tenant doesn't pay the rent. Makes sense to me. And so the person who's the landlord evicts the tenant because he wants to find someone else. It's the profit dictating the eviction. And that's a comment on how we handle our society. It's not a comment on the virus. We could do a lot better against the virus, prevent it from getting us sick, prevent it from killing us if we didn't have a profit-driven system of housing. So here's a short-term and a long-term solution. Short-term solution. The government comes in and pays the rent or a large portion of it to the landlord. That keeps the landlord from going belly up in bankruptcy, and it keeps the tenant in the house, which is the best way to go and a way to respond to the economic downturn. But here's a better long-term solution. We ought to have public housing. You know why? If the government owned and operated the housing, here's what it could do. Whenever an emergency arises that makes it difficult for large numbers of tenants to pay their rent, a public ownership, which doesn't have to make profit, because that's not how the public works, could say to people, okay, you don't pay for 6 months or a year. You'll make it up later. And if you're unemployed, here's something else we'll do. We'll give you a job here in this public housing project to use your unemployment as a time to make this an even nicer place to live than it was before. The public could do that. The public has done that. And why aren't we doing it now rather than evictions, which, as I said, will amount to a death sentence for large numbers of people who have done absolutely nothing wrong?